Hey there, welcome to the channel. My name is Chris Westfall, and in this video, I'm going to talk about eye contact, ways that you can connect with an audience when you are giving a live presentation, speech, or a pitch. These ideas will help you to make authentic eye contact, not eye contact that looks forced or robotic, but authentic eye contact. And I'll share with you why eye contact matters, and you'll come to understand things that you can do right now to improve your eye contact. In my experience, working as a professional speaker, standing on thousands of stages all around the world, the key to creating a great presentation, it's not about your material, it's about connection, especially now in the age of AI. And when it comes to connection, that connection comes through eye contact. The audience getting a sense that you are there in the room, authentically looking, listening, speaking, and sharing ideas. What would happen if your presentation wasn't a memorized speech? What if it was a conversation? Would that help you to create eye contact? I mean, we all know how to have eye contact in conversations, right? I mean, to look at people and that sort of thing. In order for your presentation to have eye contact and connection, you have to offer yourself these two words. I'm going to offer them to you, and you have to give them to yourself as we begin this journey. Here are those words. Permission granted. You have to grant yourself permission to see things in a new way so that you can do things in a new way, so that you can say things in a new way, and so that you can reach your audience with greater eye contact. Now, when it comes to creating eye contact, there's a simple and easy to implement strategy that you can input right away to help your connection with your audience. And that connection comes from this place right here. That connection comes from curiosity. Curiosity that focuses on your audience, not being curious about how you are coming across or how you are doing. Those are two things that will disrupt your presentation and destroy your ability to create authentic connection. No, what you want to do is consider how your audience is doing and be curious about how your audience is receiving your material. In other words, are they getting it? Are they picking up what you're laying down? Are they smelling what you're stepping in? So that means that audience is what matters in the presentation. Think about it. If you're standing on stage and you say something, but the audience doesn't see it, does it exist? Your audience's point of view is what matters most. And when you put your attention on your audience, when you are able to shift your focus to your audience, you replace self-consciousness, in other words, being worried about how you're coming across, with self-awareness. You're aware of what matters most, and always and forevermore in a presentation, what matters most is the audience. Think about it. You've got a presenter, you've got an audience. Maybe it's 2 people, maybe it's 10, maybe it's 200, maybe it's 2,000. In that mix, who matters more? The answer is always your audience. And so get curious about your audience. Put your focus on your audience. It goes back to the old school mantra, know your audience. And I would just add to that, how can you know your audience? Not completely. You can't know an audience completely until you are speaking with them, standing in front of them, or face to screen with them, so that you can create that connection. And that connection is a place of discovery. What that means is you have to know your material well enough so that you can put your attention on your audience. You have to know what it is that you're talking about so well that you can leave that aside. You can set it to the side so that you can concentrate on how your audience is doing. That's the powerful conversation that can help to shift your focus. And when you're giving a presentation, something that can help with your eye contact and that connection is to remember that you don't have to have 100% connection to the audience in terms of eye contact. You don't have to have 100% eye contact with the audience. You can look away. You can find your thoughts, especially if you are speaking without notes, as I am, and you are finding your next thought. Give yourself permission to find that thought wherever it may be, and make it okay to look away, to not have to have 100% eye contact. But one thing that can help you to improve your eye contact is, as you are standing in front of an audience, and let these little circles here represent an audience. I don't know why your audience would be standing in a line exactly like this, but I have a point. Stay with me. Don't let these drawings get in the way. But what you have the ability to do when you are presenting on stage is, instead of trying to speak to 50 or 500 people all at once and treating them like a group, you have the ability to talk to one person at a time. As you make your point, did they get it? Are you seeing them nod their head? Are they thinking about what you're saying? Are they not getting it? Whatever the case may be, you have the ability to take your presentation like a conversation to one person at a time and checking in visually to see if you have made a connection. And that's why it's so important to, and I'm going to do number 3 first. I was a breech baby. I've been working backwards ever since. I'm going to do number 3 first. You can listen with your eyes. In a presentation, you can listen with your eyes. And what that means is just as I am talking and holding things and writing things, you too can be speaking and listening with your eyes. Over 90% of our communication is nonverbal. And your awareness, your ability to see the audience is vital. That's why eye contact comes from curiosity. What sort of a reaction are you getting? Is your message landing? Going one person at a time, listen with your eyes. And remember that in a presentation, you don't have to go it alone. You can say things to your audience, especially if you're not sure if they're getting it, like, does that make sense? Did you follow me on that? Have you ever been there? Or, you know what that's like. Some other ideas of things that you can say is, you may be thinking, right? And you're going to suggest what the audience may be thinking and look to see if you got it right. So by understanding how to listen with your eyes, you can create a conversation inside the presentation. And while it's not a good idea to ask after everything you say, does that make sense? Did you get that? Did you follow me on that? But using that phrase or phrases like that from time to time can help you to know where you are, and not just where you are, where your audience is, because that's what matters most, that they are picking up what you are laying down. One other thing that you have to remember is you don't have to go it alone. And in a presentation, you have the ability to turn to things and take the audience's attention to use their eye contact to direct them to things like PowerPoint. You see this? The writing's kind of small here. Maybe I need to invest in a graphic artist. I don't know. But it took me like 45 minutes to draw this P. The PowerPoint presentation is a tool that supports your story. Remember, when you are giving a presentation, the PowerPoint is not the story. It is a tool that supports the storyteller. You are the storyteller. Give yourself permission, grant that permission to know that the story rests with you, and the tools that you use, whether they are pens to write on a board or a PowerPoint to support your ideas, these tools are in service to you, and your story is provided in service to the audience. Think about it. Why do they call it giving a presentation? When you think about your presentation, do you think of it as a gift, or do you think of it as an obligation? Do you think of it as a living horror movie or a nightmare or something that frightens you? It's understandable. Giving a presentation, standing up and speaking in front of an audience is, as you know, the greatest fear. But many people have conquered that fear, and you can too when you understand that you don't have to go it alone. When you create connection and put your attention outside of yourself, put your attention on your audience, and offer things, giving a presentation, giving the audience an opportunity to see things on slides behind you, you are able to create greater connection. And that connection is authentic. It's not tactical. It's not where you're like, well, I'm 14 seconds in, so I need to look at the audience. And I haven't looked at them, so I need to look at them again. Those kinds of tactics are impossible to remember. They create obligations upon obligations and make your presentation more difficult. Similarly, if you have an obligation that you've placed on yourself to memorize your presentation word for word and memorize a speech, what happens if the PowerPoint slide isn't as you've planned? What happens if someone in the audience says, hold on, I've got a question? Wow, what do you do? How do you respond? The answer is you have to know your themes, you have to know your material, but you have to give yourself permission to respond to what shows up because you know your material so well. You have the ability to stop. It's not memorized and locked down. The themes are, the ideas are, the things that you want to get across are definitely in your mind, but how you go about sharing those ideas can be adapted like you would adapt in a conversation. Why is this so important? So that you are responding to your audience, creating a connection that is authentic, that doesn't feel rehearsed or rote, where you are reading to the audience or where you are saying things that sound disconnected from what you're talking about. If you wonder what that disconnection sounds like, it's when a presentation starts with someone taking the stage and saying, I'm so excited to be here. I'd like to thank all the people that made it possible. You mean the world to me. The audience goes, no, they don't. No, it doesn't feel real. And in this age of AI where everything can be faked and deep fakes and phonies and all this kind of stuff, you owe it to yourself to know that the truth will set you free. And the truth of who you are, connecting with your material and connecting with your audience, is possible with eye contact. And to remind yourself how to connect with your own material, with your own ideas, you can always use a prop. A prop can be a pen that you use to write on what is this thing called? On a whiteboard. You could use a prop that puts you in the moment. I am really here in this room, standing in front of a camera, holding this pen, holding this sticky note. I am really touching this board. It's not some robotic, sort of memorized, pre-planned, or canned presentation. No, it's real. It's happening in real time, just as your presentation can happen in real time. And props can bring you back into the moment. As you put your attention on real things in the room, it makes your presentation more real for the audience. Why? Because you are in the room. You're not in your head. You're not inside what it is that you've memorized, or you're not inside the gestures that you've planned. You're speaking in service, in the spirit of selfless service to the audience, so that your presentation is a gift, not an obligation, not a nightmare, not something to be feared, but something to be shared, something that the audience would love to hear, to know more about, even if you're just talking about the fourth quarter inventory report. People need to know what it is that you have to share. And when you think about your audience, when you think about the place where you want to put your attention, consider, how do you envision the audience? Do you think of the audience as an angry mob with torches and pitchforks? Do you think of the audience as the enemy? Is it possible that the audience could be your friend? That the audience could want to hear what you have to say? That the audience could want to find out if your ideas are worth exploring, funding, buying? You see, when you put your attention on the audience and you think of your audience as an old friend, what changes for you? I'm not suggesting that you should imagine the audience as anything other than what they are: a group of individuals who need to know what you have to say. Those nonverbal cues and clues that you are really in the room is what creates the connection that every presenter needs. And now you know exactly how to access it. My name is Chris Westfall, and I want to say thanks for watching this video. Thanks for visiting the channel. Please be sure to hit that like and subscribe button, ring that bell, so that next time when I create new content, you'll be notified, and you can access material that will help you to show up differently inside your next presentation, your next leadership conversation. And you'll see, as I share ideas from my coaching practice, ways to make life a little easier, even when things are difficult. Thanks again for watching this video, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one.